Hello and hi. Welcome to Chapter 7, Identifying and Understanding Consumers. And please understand the difference between consumers and customers. Consumers are the ones that use the product, and the customers are usually the ones that buy the product. And there is a difference between the two. A customer can be a consumer, and a consumer can be a customer, but sometimes a customer doesn't have to be a consumer, and also a consumer does not have to be a customer. All right. If you want me to explain more about customer versus consumer, just ask the question in class. Thanks a lot. All right, so identifying and understanding consumers. Here we go. Discuss why it's important for a retailer to properly identify and understand and appeal to its customers. Again, here, this is why I mentioned to you at the beginning, there is a difference between customers and consumers. And here, as you can see, there's a slight little mistake because they mention customers and they don't mention consumers. Right? So customers will be the ones that certainly will come in to the store to buy the product, and they could use it, then they'll become consumers, or they won't use it, they'll give it as a gift, or their children, or their husbands, or wives, or whomever, and they won't use it, they'll just be the customer. So yes, they have to identify and understand and appeal to its customers and also to its consumers. To enumerate and describe a number of consumer demographics, absolutely. Now they got that correct. Lifestyle factors and needs and desires and so on. Okay, and more here to come. To examine consumer attitudes, to look at retailer actions, and to note some of the environmental factors that affect consumer shopping. Okay. So what makes retail shoppers tick? There's a lot of demographics and lifestyles and psychographics that come into play. So this chapter really is all about consumer behavior. So you have lifestyle needs, shopping attitudes and behaviors, retailer actions, environmental factors, and demographics. Inside there, of course, you've got cultural and also ethics. So demographics and lifestyle, right? Demographics, consumer data that is objective. We talked about this in the past, so you should have a good idea what demographics are. Easily identifiable, and demographics are very measurable because most of the times, there's a lot of statistics that back up demographics. And lifestyles, ways in which consumers and families live and spend time and spend money is your lifestyle. Helpful facts for understanding US demographics as we got here. And maybe some of you could look up our Canadian demographics. I know I have a whole bunch, but if you can, that'd be cool. So typical household has an annual income of $45,000. Again, this is a few years ago. So don't really refer to these numbers, but just put it in perspective. Like this is a few years ago. Certainly those numbers are a little higher than what you see there. And high incomes lead to high discretionary income. Certainly, that means that you have more money to spend than or money is spent more freely than you have when you have less income coming in. Yeah, and I apologize for the delay. And certainly with discretionary income, just to follow up on that too, is the fact that high incomes have the possibilities to save money or to invest money or to spend it. So they do have extra money to do as they will. Okay. Helpful facts. Again, this is America. There are 5 million more females than males. Okay. 3/5 of females aged 20 and older are in the labor force. This is certainly, again, in the context of what we are living through today. This has changed quite a bit. especially if you're referring to the United States of America, where almost 35 million people, if I'm not mistaken, to this date, unfortunately, with the pandemic, have lost their jobs. A lot of them will get them back, and here in Canada, certainly in Quebec, there's a huge opportunity now for Quebecers to get some pretty good paying jobs coming up in the next year, without a doubt, without a doubt. So, immigrants or not, we're sitting pretty here in Quebec. So most U.S. employment is in services. More than 25% of all U.S. adults aged 25 and older have at least graduated from a four-year college. But of course, this doesn't tell you much because most of the people that most of the graduates didn't pay for their university tuitions, and they spend the next decade or so paying back their tuitions. And you're talking huge tuitions. Universities is a big expense in the United States of America, no doubt about it, and unfair to, I would say, in some cases. I think a lot of Americans feel that's unfair, that they have to pay that much for an education, and certainly in some cases where we're living again today, they don't have a job. So could you imagine now, with all the people that have lost their jobs, and they have to pay back this tuition, and they have no job. So we're living in a very difficult, this is not just in America, certainly here in Canada, universities cost a lot less than they do there, without a doubt, but still, they still have to pay this. All right, so let's continue. Understanding consumer lifestyles, a lot of social factors. When you talk about lifestyle, like I mentioned before, you've got culture, reference groups, who you refer to when it comes to making decisions, how you spend your time, and today, again, in context of today, it's something else when you look at this and put it in perspective. Family life cycle, household life cycle, and what is your social class, all comes into play. So imagine if you are running a company and you need to know what your target market is and who your consumers are, try to figure this out today. It is some task, I would have to admit. Then you've got lifestyle, psychological factors, personality, attitudes, some class consciousness, and also purchase importance, and also how every single one of us perceives risk. And we all have a different approach of when we see, how we see risk. So this is why when we do the course soon coming up about your finances, that course will certainly put a lot of things in perspective, no doubt about it. Right? So when we do the Enriched Academy course, and I have a feeling that's coming up soon, I'm not sure when, and it'll be part, I would think it's going to be part of our curriculum very soon. So when we do that, this will be really interesting for every one of you, especially when it comes to how everyone perceives risk. All right, let's continue. So here we go, perceived risk in consumers, right? The consumer types of perceived risks. Financial is the big one, no doubt, and also how we perceive time. What can you do in 1 hour? And what can you do in half an hour? Certainly this has changed a lot because you're at home and there is no travel time. And removing travel time, the stress of travel, of being late, not being late, and when you are at home, it's a totally different perspective on life and perspective on how you see time. I have to admit that very much so, because I'm living it just as much as everybody else. Okay. Illustrations, general roles, consumer sophistication and confidence, and also poverty of time and component lifestyle. So what do you think poverty of time means? You can pause the screen here and let me know what you think about that. What is the poverty of time? Okay, but you could just think about that, about time and how we see time, and how someone that is financially well off sees time differently than someone that is not financially well off. Or like I mentioned before, if you do owe a lot of money of tuition and you have to pay back that money, certainly your structure of how you look at time is totally different, right? What about component lifestyles? Again, here you can pause the screen if you like, or, right? So component lifestyles really has to do how individual we are and how we see things and how we choose our lifestyles and all parts of that. So we can talk about that further if you like and see how diverse we are individually. Okay. Another factor that plays big in consumer behavior is certainly gender. So gender plays a big part in how we see, genders and how all of a sudden, well, now it's more here certainly in Canada than the United States, where we have maternity leave and we have paternity leave here. So if you have a choice of going on leave if you are a new father, no doubt about it. In the United States, you have neither, which is just, when you think about these things, it just doesn't make sense. You're living in a probably, they keep saying about the actual United States of America being the richest country in the world, best country in the world, all the superlatives that you want, you can use, right? But if we have to compare and use a comparative, certainly, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to be thinking that America is the greatest country in the world. There's certainly an argument there. King Kullen, I'm not sure what this is all about. Addressing the poverty of time. Again, what it talks about is food here and how we see food, but I'm not sure. I know that, when you talk about money and time, they're always linked together, but I don't see how this advertisement talks about. Again, I'm not even sure this exists anymore. I don't even know what King Kullen is, and I apologize. I should have looked it up, but I would think that this is still existing, and it's got to do with a certain branch. I don't know. But anyway, we'll keep going. 3 special market segments. There's a lot more than that now, or again, it's changed and not changed, but in-home shoppers, and you've got online shoppers and you've got out shoppers. If you look at in-home shoppers, shopping is discretionary, not necessary. Convenience is important, and time scarcity is not a motivator here. In most cases, right, you're shopping from inside your own home. Same thing about shopping online. Use of the internet, convenience is important. Again, time scarcity is a motivator here. And again, go ahead and do put this in perspective of today. Okay, and out shoppers, out of hometown shopping, young members of large families and youth in the community, income and education. They like to travel, enjoy fine food, or active, and read out of time newspapers. I would need to look that up to get more information. It's not a term you hear very often, out shoppers, but it's surely known as that, also known as a marketing gravitation or leakage, as a practice of going outside your community to buy goods. So in other words, not only do you go buy stuff to your local, you don't go buy stuff, let's say, to your local store, but you go to these big box stores where you might go to shopping centers that are not necessarily in your community. Out shoppers, that makes sense. Being truthful, not a term I've heard very often. Attitudes towards shopping plays a big part, right? How we enjoy shopping. You heard about that. Some people love to shop and browse, and some people, well, they just go in, buy the first thing, and get the heck out of there. So shopping time, shifting feelings about retailing, all these things come into play about shopping. And certainly today, as I have to admit, like a lot of people, I just shop online and get it delivered. I really don't want to venture out and risk anything at all. I am, talking about risk again, lowering my risk of getting caught in anything that could endanger my health. So, top reasons for leaving an apparel store without buying. Oh, again, so if you walk into a store, why would you leave without buying? Okay, let's take a look at this. This could be actually very interesting. Cannot find the appealing style, size, nothing fits. Pretty much the same. No sales help, right? Cannot get in and out of the store easily. That's possible. Prices are too high. In-store experience is stressful. This used to be the case for a lot of stores in Montreal, where the sales associates or sales associates were paid commission, and then you would walk into the store and they would just pounce on you and follow you around, and like wolves, they would just attack in packs, right? So I remember Future Shop, which used to be like a Best Buy, and big difference was Future Shop, the sales associates were paid commission, and Best Buys, they weren't. Sears was a lot like this. Bro and Martino, if you go inside there, you're going to have a horrible, unless they've changed it, but I don't know. Of course, they've been closed, but it's just a horrible shopping experience when you walk into a place like Bro and Martino, or even one worse is Corbeil, Corbeil. If you walk in there, you're going to be not treated very well. So almost like bait. In-store experience is stressful, like I mentioned. Cannot find good value. That is a big issue today still. Where America or Canada shops, pretty similar, right? Supermarkets, again, this has changed a lot. America shops online. Canada shops online. And as you can see here, it's not there. So a lot of percentage right now has diversified and changed. And if you can do me a favor, someone, look for the type of shoppers or retailers in Canada, and what are the percentages? Where do people shop the most today? Let's continue. Cross shopping, shopping for a product category, more than one retail format during the year. Visiting multiple retailers on one shopping trip, certainly. But again, now more and more retail outlets, could be a pharmacy. And I always use the example that a pharmacy, you can buy eggs. And first time I actually shopped for eggs, I was told to go buy eggs at a pharmacy. I just was laughing because it's a few years ago, and I had no idea that you could buy eggs in a pharmacy, right? It's the same thing like buying wine in a dépanneur. Right now, it's okay. Everybody has it, but for the longest of time, there wasn't any. So that has changed too. Consumer decision process. This has not changed. Stimulus, problem awareness, information search. We did this, I think, already in marketing. Evaluation of alternatives, purchase, and post-purchase behavior. This is what you have to recall the most is the post-purchase behavior. This is like if you were hungry, right? You were hungry, so you searched where you want to eat. So sushi, pizza, Indian food, and then you decide, oh, I'll go with pizza, because then you evaluate. Okay, which one do I choose? Well, I had an Indian yesterday. Sushi, I know it's good, but I'm really hungry for some carbohydrates, and so pizza. Let's go for pizza. And plus, I heard that my friend recommended a pizza shop, so I will choose pizza. So then, of course, the next step, you buy the pizza, right? Then you eat it. And then you realize, well, you were hungry, yes, but you ate too many slices, and now you have to burn some calories because you put on too many calories with the pizza, and now you regret it a little bit because now you have to lose that weight possibly, and so you say to yourself, oh, next time I'll be careful, and I will order maybe a smaller pizza, or I will order sushi. or vegetarian. Okay, so that consumers go through, you go through this no matter what. Key factors in the Purchase Act, right? Retailers place a purchase, retailers purchase terms, and a retailer's goods, services, and availability. And these are all factors absolutely that come into play in the Purchase Act. So this chapter overall is pretty good, I must say. Types of consumer decisions. You have the routine. You go buy water or milk, gasoline, stuff like that. Limited, where you have a little bit more risk in time. That could be clothes, right? You have to try it out, the colors and stuff like that. And extended, high. Well, here is, let's say, if you buy a car, a house, something a little bit more expensive. Right? Ooh, did you see that? Change color. Let me see. Wow, that is so cool. I wasn't expecting that. Told you this chapter is pretty good. So types of impulse shopping. Impulse, completely unplanned. That's what impulse means. Buy it on the spot. Partially unplanned and unplanned substitution. So anything that's unplanned is impulse shopping, right? And it's difficult, more difficult, I think, not difficult, but the impulse factor plays less in online shopping, don't you think? Only because you've got so much time to decide. You're sitting at home, am I going to buy this product or not? And the other factor is it gets delivered, a couple of days. And also the idea that, okay, well, on the other side, you say to yourself, it doesn't really matter because most places I buy, they've got fantastic warranties or after sales service. If I don't like it, I could just send it back. So here again, the impulse shopping is completely taken away from the way we see things, only because we don't really shop on impulse. We just buy it, don't like it, send it back, right? It's something that a lot of us do, and I have to admit, I do. Stimulating impulse purchases. Here we go. Devising a target marketing strategy, right from determining target market approach all the way to develop and enact appropriate retail strategy mix. And possible retailers, mass marketing for sure, concentrated marketing, and differentiated marketing or specialty marketing where you just sell certain things. So you got mass, concentrated, and differentiated. So as you notice, a lot of people attach a lot of different adjectives to the word marketing. I think I did with you when I gave you content marketing. We also got target marketing. There are so many different advertising marketing. There's so many different that comes into play. It's just unbelievable. So every year you've got different types of marketing coming up or concepts. So environmental factors in consumers. This is our last slide. State of the economy plays a huge factor. Rate of inflation, infrastructure for shopping, price wars, emergence of new retail formats, right? People working at home and why they're working at home, and regulations at shopping, and of course, wow, looking at all this, when you put it in perspective, this has all changed. Every single one of them there, you can relate to our pandemic situation, and as you can see, there's nothing here that talks about that. This is how rare and tragic and risky that we're going through the situation today. This is really something that was unheard of. And this is why I tell you that what we're missing and what we need to do here more and more in retail is be able to be very proactive in how our businesses are run, because we just don't know from now on. We can't accept things for what they are. I think that's the phrase of the future, is we take nothing for granted. That includes our health, our happiness, our money, our jobs, everything, our education, you name it, right? I'm quite sure you can name a few also yourself. So this is really the future. Don't take anything for granted. Understand the value of things that you have besides money, which of course you do need money. And this is why it's the Enriched Academy is really going to be an important lesson for everybody. And I'm quite sure I can get something out of it too. Being a little older than you, not much. I know that joke is kind of weak now as it was before, but I could also learn things about certain things from that Enriched Academy, looking at it as I already did. But you're young, and most of you guys are young. Please heed the warnings of what we're living through, and heed the warning of putting things aside and be it for, as we say, save money for a rainy day. And do you really need that extra pair of shoes or that extra $500 Supreme T-shirt? Maybe not, right? Maybe not. And so think about that in many cases, and think about the value of putting yourself in a situation where a value of a T-shirt that costs that much money can do nothing for you. Okay, great. We'll see you later.